It's a very, very interesting scene now. It's very passionate, and I love meeting, you know, all these people coming into it and all the new people, because then it gives me like energy. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of cool. What is that? And different techniques, and they're very open-minded. And I think that's kind of, in a way, a kind of a curse, because like all of these things now that I saw years ago with the computers and things, it's like the older generation that I came from, they were like diehard vinyl. You gotta have records. You gotta have this, and that's a CDJ is taboo. But now everyone's playing CDJs. Now after CDJs, it's like, okay, now we have to do, Serato and this and that. No, you can't use computers. That's like cheating. And I'm like, it's gonna go there. Just let's Now the newer generation, they're just like they're probably all computers now. They're using everything and their grandmother, every program there is, and pretty soon it's like the next step for me, and I'm actually doing it now, is there are holograms and video and all these other crazy things I've been up to, and I've been using lasers and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, I'm all for it. The more technology I can push further to do it, yeah, absolutely, yeah,
And last question.
sure.
How could you explain the fact that deep house isn't that popular compared to other black music success, such as
Well,
R&B?
I always said this, and I always still think the same thing about it. There's always been a mix up between the styles. And I always thought great music is great music, no matter what it is. It's always been house, and then they made techno, and then they made trance, and they did all of these things to break it all up into different sections. I can play anything as long as it sounds like house to me. That's always been it for me, for that whole thing. I mean, we always play techie style things. We always play soulful things. I think if you have a great mixture in the night, you can take people on a serious ride, and they can understand things, and all night long, bang, bang, bang. I wouldn't want to hear that. I wouldn't want to go into a club and hear that all night. That would drive me crazy, and I love that kind of stuff. But I think as long as you take people on a journey and you make it very personal, no matter what it is, and the biggest part, there's another section that's really strange, because it's all DJ based. It's not artist based anymore, and that's a big problem in a way, because you can identify. Don't get me wrong. I love the idea that I'm an artist, because I try to be an artist anyway. But a lot of the DJs, they feature artists, so it's like you might have a record that'll have I don't know, Byron Stingley or something on it one week, and then he'll get passed along to another producer, and then somebody else will do Byron Stingley. It's not based like it's a Tin City issue anymore, where it's an artist, and they have a profile, and they go to clubs and sing and stuff. I mean, I can't remember the last time I've actually gone to a club and heard a vocal or a vocalist singing, unless like one of us bring them over. And I'm real adamant about bringing over vocalists. It's like it might not even be in the budget, but I'll pop up with a singer, like, oh, here's Arnold Jarvis, I brought him with me, just so he can come to the club and sing. And I think it's very important, because if you go to a club and they give you a budget, most people go, oh, I'm putting this in my pocket, that's it, I'm gonna have some fun, go to the next gig. A budget to me for a club it's a budget for your show, to do a show in that club. You bring whatever you can, you do whatever you can to make the best possible show. So the next time people come there, they'll say, I saw this incredible show. I got exposed to the singer I've never saw before, and I saw something different, and it was one of the best nights of my life. And that's how I look at it. You bring a different element. Every time I go out, I at least bring a keyboard with me. And last night there was a saxophone player there, and he just popped in out of the blue. He says, can I play with you? I said, hell yeah. Bring it. Come on, let's go. Let's do it. And that's the other element that I feel was lacking, and a lot of why it didn't cross over and do what it did. And that's really the meat and potatoes of it. It should be an artist based thing, and it's not. It's always been one of those elements where you have to do something a little different, and because it's not video all over the place, and it's not a matter of just being seen and heard on the radio all the time. A lot of people blame it for that. We don't get radio exposure in the States and all that kind of stuff. The other third element that really I think people have to understand about house music is that when you listen to it, it's such an honest music that you have to look inside to hear yourself. You have to be honest with yourself to hear this kind of music. And it frightens a lot of people, because they don't want to know themselves. It's much easier to spoon feed a lot of people and give them a Britney Spears or something. Oh, that's simple. Everyone likes it. But house is so honest. It really makes you look inside yourself, and you can honestly tell what the person is doing, singing, saying. And if you don't want to look inward, because every message that ever was created in house, it's always been unity, love, passion, something having to do with the heart. So if you don't want to look inside of yourself, or not be internal, it's a lot easier to listen to something commercial, a lot more poppy, a lot more spoon fed. It can go in the background, it can go in the speakers overhead. Anytime I've ever heard a house record that has anything to do with something, it always makes you think. And it's a mental music, it's a deep music, and that's why it's called deep house, because you have to think. And a lot of people don't want to think at all. So that's another reason why I believe that it's not as, mainstream or popular, because a lot of people, they really don't. A lot of people don't want to look at themselves.